Welcome to Rubber Duck Off-Road Garage. My name is Grant. In today's video, well, I lifted the Gladiator. I ended up doing a 3-inch Rock Krawler Adventure Series mid-arm system. So as of right now, the only control arms that changed are the front lower control arms. So this is where the Gladiator is at. It's all finished. This video is a little different because we did the install at a buddy of mine's house last weekend or the weekend before, somewhere around there. And I have all that, so I'm going to put that in this video, and I'm going to have to add sound to it because I didn't really do any sound. We just kind of went through putting the lift in, so I'll have to either type in what was going on or I'll just add sound to it, kind of showing you the process. But this is what the Gladiator looks like all finished. It's in my garage now. It's to me it's noticeably higher, but I've been driving it the whole time. I like it. We kept the stock shocks, but I think I'm going to order new ones, and I'll probably do a video of putting those on. So for that, I will get the rest of the video together and you'll see it here like that for the most part. Second I'm done talking, we'll roll the feed on that. So here's all the boxes for all the stuff that comes with the lift kit. You have the control arms, the coil springs, and all the other miscellaneous hardware. Okay, so here I opened up all the boxes. I laid everything out so you can see what everything looks like before the install. Okay, so here I kind of skipped a little bit. You're supposed to, typical stuff before you start. Make sure you're on flat level ground, chalk the rear wheels, because you start on the front first with this install. So I'm skipped ahead here. I'm on the part where we've already raised the Jeep, we've put jack stands underneath it, and the first step is removing the sway bar ends. So that's where we're at in this video, or this part of the video. So the kit comes with new sway bar end links, so we got rid of the front ones. And then after that, you don't see it in this part of the video here, you're supposed to remove the nut holding the factory brake line to the OEM lower control arm. So you have to take that bolt out and then set it aside for now. We just screwed the bolt back into the control arm and we left them in there. It just gives you a little bit of slack to the brake line, so when you drop the axle down, it's out of the way. So before you start removing the panhard bar or track bar, you set the front axle on jack stands. You're also going to want to disconnect your motor cable for the axle disconnect. You're going to want to unplug it and then unclip it from where it's pinned at and let it hang so that when you drop the axle it doesn't get bound up. And then you move on to setting the axle on jack stands and taking the panhard bar out.
So the next few steps from here will be removing the coil springs and then the lower control arms. So in the kit that I got, it only comes with new lower control arms. Eventually I will end up replacing all the other control arms, but to start it's just the lower ones, and they're not adjustable, they're fixed. They're just set up to give you a little bit more clearance the way they're bent. So you'll see that here as we go along. You're also going to be adding bump stops for the new travel distance and everything for the front. They're like 3-inch bump stops. You drill a hole through the base of your pad and it mounts in there. You'll see in the video, and I'll kind of give you a little update here and there as we go along. Says here's my buddy Jeremy who was helping me install the lift today. I think he said something, but I can't remember exactly what he said, but that's him. He's the person you see walking around in the back, and there's a little one running around somewhere too. He's giving a hand here and there. I think he might be inside at this time, but I can't remember. So here you can see Jeremy underneath the Jeep. We're putting in the new lower control arms. And if you look at the coil spring there, you can see the new coil springs in with the bump stops installed. So that's what it'll look like when it's all done. The instructions for this kit are pretty good. They give you a lot of real in-depth instruction. There is other parts to it though, because it's basically a universal set. So if you have like the upper control arms that are adjustable, they'll tell you how to put those in and your measurements. And if your lower control arms are adjustable, they'll do that. Same with the rear. Mine are pretty simple because they're not adjustable. So here it is. Doing here is because we have the passenger side already done and we're shifting to the driver's side. I'm jacking up the passenger side to drop the driver's side down even more to hopefully help us get that coil spring in without too much oomph. So here you can see we've got the new sway bar links in, the control arms are all in. The front end is pretty much done. All we got to do is jack it up, put the tires back on, set it down, and then tighten everything up. First thing you do in the back is you jack it up, you get your jack stands underneath it, and then you take the wheels off and get all that done, and then you move on to the first step for the rear suspension at that point. Okay, so first up is removing the rear shocks, which I kept my original shocks, so I didn't. I just unbolted them from the axle, and then you remove the rear sway bar links. So if you're not doing the kit that I did, you can keep those rear sway bar links and they will be moving to the front. Mine came with new sway bar links for the front and rear, so I'm chucking those ones as well. So that is what's going on in this part. We're also unhooking the rear panhard bar from the axle because you have to add in the extension plate onto the mount on the axle for the rear panhard bar, because I didn't get the new one that is adjustable to the length. So I'm using the spacer for now, and eventually I'll get the different one. See here, but what I'm doing is there's a little clip that's mounted to the axle that holds your brake line in place. I took that bolt out so you have more play in your brake line. You'll hook it back up when you're all done. So we undid that. We actually ended up taking the rear brake calipers off too to give us more, but that's what's going on this part. So before we took the coil springs out, we probably should have done this, but we didn't. We just took the coil springs out. We loosened up all the bolts on the upper and lower control arms for the rear axle. So those are under a preload, so it basically just gave us more wiggle room to maneuver the axle around. And then once we got the weight all back on it, we tightened it back up, and that just sets your preload once you're all done. So that bracket I was just waving around, that's the relocation bracket for your rear panhard bar. You just slip it on over the stock one, and then you drill some holes, bolt it on, and remount your track bar. See here that we got the rear coils in. Now we're rehooking up the rear track bar. The bump stops for the rear are just these like steel plates, so I didn't really show that how to mount those. There's a couple holes already that you can kind of line up and mount those to. I mean, I probably won't run them for very long, but I put them in just in case. But I don't know, we'll have to wait and see. There's nothing special, so I didn't really show much of that. you can see right there, that's the bump stop. It's pretty plain Jane. It's just a piece of steel bent into like a kind of like a, not a triangle, but what's that shape there? I can't think of it. But they just bolt on. You can drill 4 holes, or you can use the 2 holes that are kind of already there and bolt it that way. That's what we did. Because I'll probably end up, if I don't take them off and leave them off, I'll probably end up doing some different style of bump stop for the rear later on. I'm just not sure yet.
So that'll be it for the install of the Rock Krawler lift. It went pretty smooth. We did the best we could. I really like it so far. It's pretty nice. Eventually I'm gonna upgrade with some of their other products. They make a bracket that you put on your rear axle that goes over the pumpkin, and you can do a triangulated 4-link in the rear, so you can get rid of the panhard bar. So I think that'd be kind of cool. But we'll see. I'm gonna start with this for now, run it and see how well it does on like mild off-roading, because I don't plan on doing anything too serious yet. I do want to get to the point where I can run the Rubicon, but we'll have to wait and see on that. So thanks for watching.